Also, commercial news. Now, I put commercial news up here because news sells. I don't watch commercial news. In fact, the only input that I get is I go by Starbucks every Saturday and I get 1 cup of coffee, and I look at the LA Times, okay, and that's the only input of news I get. But have you heard of the bird flu pandemic a couple of years ago? Oh my gosh, be careful. Oh wait, that didn't happen, did it? Oh no. Okay, what about a few more years before that? The Y2K. Oh my gosh, all the computers are going to shut down. We're going to... Oh, that didn't happen either, did it? Okay, so understand your perception of the environment or what happens radically changes the outcome. It radically does. And it causes a loss of control, and that's pretty much what spirals people down. But remember, perceived stress. So this means that if you're watching the news and you hear something about the economy or an airplane crash or the war or something along those lines, what happens to your heart rate? It goes up. What happens to your cholesterol rate? It goes up. What happens to blood sugar? It goes up. Oh my gosh. So your perception of the events change your immune system as well. And this is huge. The health of your body is directly linked to the health of your cells. What they used to say is you're a slave to your DNA. Okay? Sorry, you can't do anything about it. You got that gene and you're going to get the disease. That's not true. Okay, it's not true at all. Have you heard that cancer is genetic? Has anyone heard that lie? Okay, yeah, it's not true. Okay, cancer affected 3% of the population in 1900. Now it affects almost half of the population. Have genes changed in 100 years? No. Okay, my blue eyes are not going to turn brown. That's genetic. Okay, genes don't turn themselves on or off. Down syndrome, that's a genetic illness. You got it, it doesn't get better. Okay, so understand, genetics don't turn themselves on or off. What you are a slave to is your perception of the environment, and this is something that's brilliant. The health of your cells is directly related to the health of your immune system. Now, this brilliant guy, Bruce Lipton, came up with the biology of perception. A phenomenal book. Medical researcher. He found out that if he took muscular dystrophy cells out of a patient with muscular dystrophy, the cells function normal. And then he put them back in, they started to function abnormally. So he's going, wait a second, so it's not a muscular problem, it's a control problem. And then he found out that your perception of the environment changes cell function. How does it do that? Is because right now, the health of the cell or the health of your body is dependent on the type of proteins that this produces. If this cell, because all cells in your body have to take in nutrients, produce proteins, and eliminate waste products. If this produces appropriate proteins, your immune system's strong. Your resistance from cancer is there. You won't get it. If this immune system in the cell or the cell protein production is strong, your resistance to all diseases, everything works right. Does that make sense? What he's talking about and what he found out is that your perception of the environment changes those receptor sites on the outside of the cell. So this changes nutrients into the cell, it changes protein production in the cell, and changes your health. So he says changing your perception can change cell function. That changes cell expression. You change cell expression, you change your genetic expression. Wow! So your perception of the environment directly affects it that strongly? It does. It's called psychoneuroimmunology. They're actually playing with this now to find out how far they can take it. What they've done is they've taken people, they've stuck an irritant underneath their skin. First, they'll have them watch a scary movie. Okay, I don't like scary movies. That would really be bad for me. Okay, but they stick an irritant. Then they have them watch a comedy. Same irritant. They found a 400% greater rate of immune system response under a positive mental attitude. That's huge. So now let's look at the same thing, only with a different. We call this the effective health approach. So first off, taking on the stress is the same as the picture I just showed you. What happens? Your respiration rate goes down, your heart rate goes up, blood supply to the gut shuts down. So we're talking the same response, but what can you do? Oh, deep breathing. Let's try it. Take a deep breath in. Blow it all the way out. Let's do one more of those. Deep breath in, blow it all the way out. So wait a second, what you're doing right there is you're getting rid of carbon dioxide, you're changing your acid-base balance, you're increasing immune system function, it causes a relaxing effect or decreases stress. What about drinking water? Oh my gosh, one of the greatest detoxicants we have, hydrogen and oxygen. God really knew what he was doing when he built this stuff. Get direct sunlight exposure. We know that direct sunlight exposure will increase bone, decrease your risk of chronic diseases, decrease your risk of cancers. And we're talking the most basic, simple solutions here for just your perception of the environment. Plus, when there's less sunlight exposure, it's called seasonal affective disorder, SAD, and that happens in the wintertime. That's why sun lamps or vitamin D3 are so vital during the wintertime. But what this does, this will change your perception. You change your perception, you change cell expression. You change cell expression, you change your immune system. What does this do by changing your perception? That results in empowerment, increased immune system function. Oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. Let's put this into action. First off, chemical stress. Now you may have you heard the term medications? Let's change this to find out what it actually is. Let's call it chemical products produced by a company marketed to you to change symptoms so that you can purchase this product. Okay, chemical products. Because medications, that sounds a little bit too technical. And since most of them aren't very scientific, let's look at the reality there. So first off, chemical products. Synthetic foods, food products. And food products means if man makes it, don't eat it. Okay, environmental pollution and vaccinations. All of these are chemical stressors. But wait a second. Your body responds the same from emotional stress as it does to these chemical stressors. So does this mean if you're getting the 74 vaccinations that our kids are getting nowadays, that they might be under some type of stress? Absolutely. If you're like a senior and you're taking, this is good, up to 25 prescriptions a year, do you think that has some chemical stress? But wait a second, let's think about this a second. If you're a senior citizen and you're taking 25 prescriptions a year and your body responds the same to physical, chemical, and emotional stress, does that mean that your heart rate's going to be elevated under that type of chemical assault? Yes or yes? Does that mean blood pressure's elevated? Does that mean cholesterol's elevated? Does that mean blood supply to the gut shut down? Oh my gosh, in response to those medications. Well, now first off, let's look at how you're getting these products. Why would you take a blood pressure drug or an antacid drug into your system? First off, advertising. Phenomenal. 43%, almost half of newspaper advertising is pharmaceuticals. 46% of TV advertising is pharmaceuticals. And most Americans get their information about medications through TV and newspapers. The tough part is 93% of all the chemical products or medications that you're seeing advertised are for symptoms. And symptoms is the body's expression of how it's functioning. This, if you have no ethics, imagine investing in a product that gets $12 billion a year. I know. Gosh, if you don't have ethics or morals, antidepressants, 12.5 billion in sales. When you look at the actual research behind antidepressants, they're only effective 40% of the time for short periods of time. That means they're not effective 60% of the time. And the side effect of antidepressants is suicide. Are there more effective, statistically accurate, and more scientific methods for dealing with depression? Yes or yes? Yeah, direct sunlight exposure, water, fish oils, and there's study after study after study. But it's not, they don't have the advertising backing that these guys do.